Doing?
I am very well, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all, thank you. Have you got a presentation?
Yes, I have.
Are you there now? Perfect.
I am there, yeah. I shall share my screen now, sir. Cool. So I'll just get started.
Yeah, absolutely. All yours.
Cool. Right. So, hello everyone who's watching. My name is Tej. If you forget, you can see, just look awkwardly at my chest and my name shall appear. I'm going to talk to you today about branding. I'll go briefly through property because it is a property event, but I really want to talk to you about why you all need a personal brand. I know we've had a lineup of incredible speakers so far, and some have covered this in some parts and some have covered it in others, but this will add value, I promise you. So let's get into it. So firstly, who am I? Like, why am I here talking about branding and stuff? I studied biochemistry at King's, which was, great. I still think like a scientist. I had a recruitment business for about 3 years. I then basically kind of gave it up and got into property full time about 8 months ago, which actually it made a huge, huge difference. And I'll kind of get to, I guess, why that makes a big difference. You can most definitely do property if you are, working in a job, but it becomes a lot easier when you're full-time, which I think a lot of people will potentially kind of understand as well. So I'm also a host of a networking event, PPN Knightsbridge. You're probably thinking, what the fuck, this many humans in a room at once? It looks very weird to look at a picture like this right now. But we had 120 people at one point there before everything obviously started. So if you're in London, second Tuesday of every month, come along. And I guess more importantly, what have I done? Why am I talking to you about brand? So I've built a brand. I'll get to my podcast shortly, but I've helped thousands of people, with a free education, a free kind of insight into what property is really like, which has also meant that I've been able to build a portfolio. It's gone from 0 to 1.3 million in 9 months. Now I started off with about £40,000 of my own money. So if you do the maths, that's just not possible, like just with what I started off with. But I raised just under £600,000 in 5 months. Hold on a second. I just said something a bit crazy, did I not? How on earth did I raise 600 grand in just 5 months, right? I mean, I did, but looking at it realistically, how long did it actually take me to make, to raise this much from private investors? It took 12 months. And what that means is, I was building a brand for 12 months. I was doing my podcast for 12 months. I was interviewing people who had so much experience and I hadn't even done a viewing. I was posting every single day on Facebook, every single day on Instagram, writing blogs, doing videos, just being active, commenting, liking, being in groups for about 12 months in sort of total before it got to the stage that I could then raise that much money in 4 or 5 months. Like, this is the reality of it. And this is the reality of building a brand, is that it will take this long if you haven't got any properties. Now, of course, if you say to me, Tej, I've got 50 properties, then you're going to do it a lot quicker than me. I mean, you can achieve results in weeks, in months. But for most people starting out, it will take about this long. So I just want to prepare you for the reality of, me teaching you how to build a brand. It does come with, I guess, a commitment. But when you commit, it can take a bit of time. So just be ready. Don't expect these results instantly. And I spoke about my podcast. I just want to share some stats, from the podcast with you. But I also want to kind of warm you up, which is kind of half the battle here. Because a lot of people, they know that they should have a brand and they think it's important, but they don't do anything about it. Most people don't. And most people will leave this chat and do nothing about it. And then potentially some will complain when they can't raise money. But this is a way that you can raise money. Now, looking at these figures, in 19 months, let's say I went to loads of networking events, like lots. I really went hard, 2 a week maybe. Firstly, I'd be shattered. Secondly, there'd be a lot of cost. But thirdly, would I have got 300,000 touch points with people? Would I have made it into 100 countries? I mean, as cheap as Ryanair is, and as many air miles as I'd love to collect, it just wouldn't happen, right? You know, would I have been ranked 15 on the iTunes chart, which at one point I was higher than Gary Vee for about a day, but I'm holding on to that, screenshot that. You know, could you achieve this just by physically networking? No. Could you just do digital networking and raise money? Yeah. I think it's good to have a combination of both. And I'm not saying don't go to physical events, obviously once we can, but just look at these figures, you know. I literally sit in my room using this microphone, which costs, I got it for a tenner, but it costs about 70 quid. And I can reach this many people. This doesn't include Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. If I did paid ads, it doesn't include them either. So I hope you're kind of seeing the effect that using digital mediums can have on your branding. This is a property event, so of course I will talk about property briefly, just to show you like what I work on and what investors have been funding for me. So this is not my first deal, but it's just deal one in this pack. Cost £70,000 to buy. The refurb was 10,826 exactly. Blah blah blah. We're all in for £90,759. The revaluation came in at 115 on a RICS valuation, and it was higher than I had in my spreadsheet, and I was very pleased with that. Valuer liked it, and yeah, it was based off square footage, really, as it often is. It leaves in £4,500, and it rents for the highest in its area, and it's the highest one in my portfolio. I cannot find another property out of all 15 that I've purchased in the past 8 months that matches this one. It's my favorite, and the tenants are lovely. So more like this, please. But you can see my ROAS, which is return on cash employed or cash left in after refinance, 77%. Where are you getting that in a bank? I mean, I don't know. If you're getting it, direct me to it. But the minimum I go for is 77%. It's 50%, sorry. So this deal is my favorite deal, and it's probably the most beautiful one I've done in terms of the interior design. It was meant to be a flip, but I had to flip another property I was doing because of a very bad builder. Long story, one of the many challenges in property. And I kept this one, and I got what you could call a very favorable valuation, probably a lot higher than I expected. You know, in terms of I always expect to be quite conservative with it. And again, this one leaves in £4,300, and it rents a 625. And the ROCE is 87%. As you can see the pictures, I think it looks freaking awesome. I know it's my own property, but it looks pretty good. The interesting thing about this is this was a buy refurbish refinance, which is my main strategy. And I've done 12 of these, and I've got 3 flips all happening at the moment in different stages and the past 8 months. But this one was done in 3 months and 3 days. So literally got the keys, and some of this was over Christmas, right? Literally 3 months, 3 days later, we had a tenant secured, signed, first month deposit paid. I also had the refinance funds come into my account. And I didn't realize till my broker said, that was really quick, Tej. What happened? I was like, damn, it was. Like, that was super quick to have a whole refurb. This was as you can see, almost a 19 grand refurb. 3 months, 3 days, it can be done. My investor was very happy to get paid back on a 12-month loan a lot earlier than 12 months. So imagine how many of these you can do in a year. I mean, the cash flow on this one's about 350, maybe a little bit more, self-manage. How many of these you need to quit your job? And if you can do one in 3 months, and it's an asset, and this is definitely going to have capital appreciation in this area, you know, how many can you do? And the only reason I can do this is because of my brand. You know, yes, I could do it without. I could be networking all the time. I could have a black book of millionaires, sure. But for most of us, we don't have those things and those luxuries. But what we do have is this and this, right? And 2 hands and the ability to use technology effectively. So deals like this, and this actually came to me off market, direct from someone, because of my brand. So the deal came because of my brand. The money came because of my brand. The refurb money came because of my brand. And actually, the agent charged me less on the tenant find because of my brand. And the photographer charged me less because of my brand. But you get the point, right? Brand is so important to every step of, property investment. So this is, just to kind of show you that it's great to talk about deals and the cash flow and this and this and blah, blah, blah. But like growing quickly really does hurt. I think the number of ouches on this chart don't actually signify. Every millimeter of this chart should have an ouch on it, because every single stage of growth, especially quick growth, is painful, especially when you're far from home. But I promise you that having a brand will make this so much easier. So I hope I've warmed you up using personal examples, but I've got a lot more warming up to do, because I know some people are still not going to be in love with having a brand. And when I tell you how much hard work it is, I really need to show you why it's important first. Because when it comes to the hard work, you're going to be like, oh, why are we doing this, right? So the main event, personal brand. So normally in a room full of people, right now I'm in my room staring at a green dot on my webcam, I would say, who here has a personal brand? Now, often what happens is two people kind of put their hands up, and then there's a third who's like, yeah, I got a personal brand. And most are like, I don't know, Tej. So once you've had a read of that, rethink what your answer was. Do you have a personal brand? 1,000,000%. What you may not have is the digital presence. What you might not have is the Instagram or Facebook profile where you're putting it out there. You may not have the branded t-shirts. You may not have the colors, the logos, the blah, blah, blah. But you have a set of expectations, memories, and stories about other people, and they have it about you. If I meet you once at a networking event, and I never ever hear of you again, that's not a good personal brand, but you still have a personal brand in that I will remember the relationship we built briefly, the memory of you. And let's say I met 3 people at a networking event, irrespective of their personal brand, maybe you could call this reputation, I am going to have a set of expectations the next time I see those 3 people, and memories. And something is going to make me have a stronger affinity to one of them than the other, and really not like one and the other. So personal brand, you could argue it's almost sort of like reputation and personality together, but then converted into your keyboard, right? Or your camera or something, right? Converted into the internet. That's the equation to look at it as, right? Personality plus reputation into the internet. I just made that up now. I think that's a good bit of algebra there. I know it's Saturday night, but got to do a little bit of maths. Now, again, this slide, it's not going to be much fun because it's just me talking to myself. Now, I normally say to people, who are these people? I always forget. The left is Selena Gomez, actress, Disney, singer. Actually, no, I think I like one of her songs. Singer. Middle, world's greatest footballer, arguably. And my favorite, Kylie Jenner. If you didn't know, Kardashian sister. She's sister of them, or she there? Anyways, now I normally ask, how much do each of these people get paid to put one post on Instagram? Instagram alone, and one post. So normally I'd say, yeah, go on, shout some answers at me, and I get like, oh, £5, 100 quid, I think £20,000, £1 million. But I'm going to show you. I'll give you a second just to look and guess and maybe chuck something in the comments. Oh my God, £708,000 to basically, hi, yeah, just chilling on the couch. Yeah, got my Tej Talks tea on, great. How does that make you feel? How many flips would you have to do to make that much? Go on, tell me, London, even London investors, how many flips would you have to do to make that much money? How many years of rent would make that much money? Yet she makes that on one post. Should we even be in property? Should we just all become celebrities? Next up, Mr. Cristiano. So not too much more, but again, takes a picture of his shoes. Oh, Adidas. Yes, other trainers are available. I like these Adidas. They're bright pink. Check them out. Hashtag ad. Hashtag Adidas. £780,000. Now, I'm bringing out the big guns now. My favorite, for a reason, Kylie Jenner gets paid. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? This is painful. Oh, yeah, let that sink in. That's a lot of zeros on one social media platform. I mean, obviously what she's done, you know, first female billionaire, etc., etc. But arguably, none of these three do much. I mean, I think they all give to charity. I think Cristiano does. You know, arguably, they don't add anything to society. In fact, some of them probably detract from society. Yep, I'm looking at Kylie there. And generally, what they post is quite shallow. They're not teaching you how to eat a good diet or work out well. You know, go look at their Instagram feeds. Especially Kylie, who gets paid the most. It's very empty, should we say? It's not very scholarly. Now, again, she's getting paid to take this, take a picture of the nails, put it up, say, buy my whatever range of stuff she has. They wake up in Bali, take a picture of their knees, hashtag Bali. Tell me who's watching this right now, who doesn't want to wake up, take a picture of their knees, hashtag Hemel Hempstead, and get paid $1 million, right? How many property developments, because these figures are maybe more, you know, like that, would you have to do before you make this kind of money? How much stress, how much debt, how many market factors, how many bits of paperwork, how many personal guarantees? You get the gist. You have to sign before you make the kind of money they do. So the importance of brand. I hope that this is really showing you, right? And I know that, you know, they're celebrities and, you know, blah, blah. They're not purely sort of like personal brands, but you get what I'm saying, right? And just to make it a little bit more realistic, here are some names that, you know, you're probably more familiar with. You got Gary Vee at the bottom. You got Mr. America, basically Donald Trump's twin, Grant Cardone, etc., Beyonce. I said I'll make it more realistic. I guess I haven't. But what I mean is, these are kind of people, especially, let's say, Gary Vee, who is more known to entrepreneurs than the bigger world. Beyonce is definitely a red herring. She's known to everyone. But, like, he is someone that's known to entrepreneurs. And I think a lot of people that potentially follow him know who he is and what he says. How do you know that? And why do you trust him? And if Gary Vee walked into the room and said, right, everyone, I've got an amazing deal. Don't worry about the details. Don't worry about the security. I'm Gary Vee. Look, I'm looking for about £20,000 from each of you. You know, a lot, maybe not in England, but let's say in America, a lot of people are going to mob him and give him their bank login details and say, just take everything because you're Gary Vee. I know Americans are different, but that's the kind of brand and the power that he has, right? And how do his lessons, and if you think Grant teaches you anything, apart from how to be a knob, how do their lessons get to you from social media? So here's some of the things that as a property investor, I'm confident of, because I've achieved these, you can achieve from having a brand. So again, I think this is the last slide, or maybe the second to last slide on warming you up to having a brand. I mean, who doesn't want better refurbs? Free clothes? Who doesn't want to raise money? Who doesn't want free Nando's? Vegan Nando's for the vegans. Who doesn't want financial freedom? I've done it in 8 months. It takes longer because you got lag periods, but I've done it in 8 months because of my brand. And I'm using the slowest method there is, which is buy to lets, vanilla single lets. What if you had a brand and did HMOs or rent to rent or something that could get you there quicker? You can do this with a brand, right? And viewings, I've outsourced. I've outsourced everything really, apart from refurbs, because I love managing them myself. But everything else is sort of outsourced because I want to. So why do you need to be online? This is kind of getting into it. If you're not visible, do you exist? It might be a sad sort of question of society, maybe a little bit philosophical, but, you know, let's be real. If you're not online, you know, are people going to know who you are? Maybe not. Online has a much bigger reach, as you know, as we've been through. It also builds trust and proof. You know, if you meet someone at an event and they say, yeah, Tej, I got 100 properties, been in this game for years, I'm super experienced, I've seen it all, I have. Yeah, I'm a top guy, diamond gazer. You're going to say, cool. You're going to go home, you're going to Google their name, You're going to look at their website, you're going to look at their social media, and you're going to want to see if they're telling the truth. Am I right? And if there's nothing there, or if it doesn't match the reality of what they just told you, whew, we don't like that. Humans don't like disparity, especially when it's about humans. We don't like to believe you're one thing, but then see you're another, you know? I'm sure we can all agree. Touch points. People might be familiar with the 7 touch points to a sale. Basically, that, you know, there's this thought or this research that says there's going to be 7 touch points before you make a sale. A touch point is a call, a text, a voicemail, you know, commenting on someone's thing, an email, part of a mailing list, an advert. 7 touch points, right? I think there's a lot of like science to back it up, and I think it's the same thing with an investor. You're going to need a lot of touch points and maybe more, because they're not buying a phone off you or, you know, I don't know, a pen. They're taking a serious investment and always a risk to invest in you. Now, I've had times where I sort of just subtly put on Instagram, I'm looking for investors. Oh, a DM from two guys, or like one of them representing them. An 8-minute phone call a few days later. 7 days later, £57,000 in my account. That means that I did 6 or 7 touch points really from my brand and from my podcast and from everything, that they were confident enough to have a tiny phone call with me, to not meet me, and to invest in me. Now add another 0 to that 57 grand. If you need that much, you can get that much. Add another 0. Take away a 0. You can do this, right? And it will break down those touch points, and it'll make it more efficient. You know, how many times have you gone to an investor? Oh yeah, you want to invest? Phone call, meeting. Oh, another coffee. Oh, oh, you're still not sure. Oh, another coffee. Hi, Ted. Yeah, we decided we don't want to invest. We're gonna buy a new TV instead. How much time have you wasted? How frustrating is that? But you could do it passively using your phone, almost. At the same time, you know, don't be a dick with it. Like, you have to still have integrity with everything I'm saying. Right. So how? Feel free to screenshot this slide if you want. Now, I'm going to assume you all have profiles and you all know how to roughly use Instagram and Facebook. However, my next slide does go over some pre-steps, but I really want to get into the bulk of it, which is you have to post every day. Now, every day means 5 days, weekdays at a minimum. If you post 7, you will grow quicker. Yeah, there's less engagement on weekends. People engage with more fun stuff on the weekends. Fine. But if you post 7 days, I promise you will grow quicker than if you post 5. But 5 is a minimum on at least 2 social media platforms. You're going to say Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, maybe like TikTok. Well, the choice is yours, but I always advise people, especially people who are not as passionate about this, to consider Facebook, because of the knowledge that's on Facebook, as this whole event has shown you. And I think the free education value on it is huge, but you will find investors on it. And also, it's a platform where kind of everyone has a Facebook account, and you know, you're likely to find normal people on it who are investors. So I would look at Facebook as one for sure. Now, if you're purely just looking at investors, I'd go straight to LinkedIn. It's a little bit boring. It's a little bit professional. It can be a bit harder to crack than Facebook. But where can you find the vice president of the Latin America division of Barclays Bank who works in the Canary Wharf office with one search string? Because you know what salary he or she is going to be earning, right? So it's very useful for targeting certain people who you know will have investment, which of course is great. And there's lots of business networking events and stuff you can get from it. If you want to just have more of a community or have more fun, or really, really document your like hourly, daily life, which I think is really important, go for Instagram. If you're like me and you love it, have everything. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn are my like top 3. And YouTube, I guess. I also now I'm on TikTok, so watch out for some like dancing videos of me on TikTok. TikTok, I know if there's any questions about it, feel free to put them in there and I'll give my thoughts on it. So make sure you're posting every single day. And I've got a content sort of cheat sheet after this. Posting groups, you know, you can only have 5,000 friends. There's some groups with 26,000 people in. use the reach. The groups are there for, yes, for certain people to sell certain things in certain groups, but, generally speaking, just keep posting stuff. Like, especially at the beginning when you aren't known and you don't have as many contacts or friends, post in groups. Now, you see a lot of people who post something on their page, something in this group, something in this group, something in this group, something in this group, and it's the same thing, and it's at the same time, and Facebook actually groups it together, and they get no engagement, and they wonder why. It's lazy. Facebook doesn't like it. And yes, you're not going to get seen by everyone, so you do have to post consistently, but posting the same thing over and over is just not going to get you, it's just not going to get you the kind of engagement that you're looking for and that you need. So just be wary that if you're going to post in groups, what I do is, I post on my personal Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. Then maybe a couple of days later, I take something from my Instagram and I put it in a Facebook group. And I keep doing that. Or I take like a YouTube caption, turn that into a mini post for a Facebook group. Or I just make totally fresh content for Facebook groups. It's a lot of work. And I've only gone through 2 parts of building a brand, and it already sounds like a lot of work, right? It is. There's no silver bullet. There's ways you can make it more efficient, scheduling tools, etc. But I really want to sort of like drill it in that it can feel like a full-time job, but so can your accounts, so can your property sourcing, so can your networking, so can your fundraising. Branding and social media should be a pillar of your business, so therefore it deserves this time. If you want the results that I've described, and this is just me, there's people who've been on here before who've raised a lot more than me, a lot quicker than me, because of their brand. So commenting and liking, I normally ask who comments and likes, and it's probably about 20% of the room. If you comment and like on people's posts, you're basically saying, hi, on their shop front. You're standing outside their shop and saying, hey, just me, because people are going to see you, especially if they have a good brand. But also, by commenting and liking, you are giving other people engagement. And what happens when you give? You get, naturally, right? The law of reciprocity. And also ego. You're stroking someone's ego. Oh, really great post, dude. Yeah, I really like that interior. They're going to give it back to you, and it's going to build deeper relationships, and you're going to get more engagement. If you start doing one thing, start commenting and liking and loving and laughing, etc. on people's posts. Commenting is the most powerful thing you can do, but people disregard it. I've put out posts saying commenting is the most powerful way to grow your brand. I had 3 comments out of potentially 60, and I was like, so the instructions are right there, and yet no one's doing it. So I guarantee you, by commenting and liking, you will grow your profile a lot quicker, and you'll become a lot more recognized, especially if you're adding value and saying stuff. Oh, you're new in property. I don't care. You can still add value. There's a million and one things I don't know that you know, even if you're new, and vice versa, right? Add value. If someone says, oh, a HMO is when you have like 2 or more unrelated people in like 7 stories, right? We all know that's not correct. But don't say, oh, idiot, you should know better than that. Just help and say, hey, by the way, I think you might be mistaken. Here's a link to the guidelines. Here's a link to the RLA page. Add value. Because just because someone doesn't have knowledge doesn't mean they don't have money. Doesn't mean they don't have time or contacts who could help you, right? Help everyone. That's what the kind of property community is about. Now, here's another thing I say to people in the room. I say, right, there's, usually 50, 60 people in a networking room when I'm speaking. If every single person in here spoke to every single person, which is a big ask, but let's say they did, they would probably learn at least one new thing, right? We can all agree, one new thing. What if they then took a selfie with that one person? That's, 59 selfies. That's 59 lessons. Is that not content for the next 59 days across every platform? Is that not then a blog about what you learned from them? Is that not then a video about what you learned from them with links to pictures, articles, etc.? Is that not a podcast or many? Do you get my drift? One bit of content, one lesson can be split into many things. And I'll show you how to do that on one of the next slides. So when you go to an event, you're paying 25 quid or whatever. Don't let that 25 quid just be there and then. Like, make that event last longer. Doesn't matter about times. You can say at an event or a picture of an event 3 years later, 2 years, whatever. No one's going to be like, oh, you're not there right now though, so what are you doing? Don't get hung up on that, right? It's an excuse. So take pictures, right? And this is another point. Take pictures everywhere you do, everything you do in property. If there's a crack in a building and you're like, oh yeah, it's non-structural, it's fine, we know what it is. That's great. But there's someone who's 10 steps behind you who doesn't know that, right? Japanese knotweed. How many people know how to treat it and the price of treating it and what it looks like? A few people. A lot of people don't, especially when you're starting out. So take a picture of it, share an article about it, write an article about it. And then, there's, for every Japanese knotweed, there's a crack, or there's a bit of wallpaper falling off, or there's a tree growing in the lounge. Like, we all know what kind of shitholes we like to view as property investors doing the BRR model. Take pictures of it. It will benefit someone, I promise you. Also, when you're online, you can assess each other. So in a networking event, we all get, stuck with that person, and you're like, oh, I don't want it. Oh, yeah, great. Oh, really? Yeah, swear down, really? Oh, nice. And you just really want to be like, bye. But you feel really awkward and you can't. Well, online, you can assess people, see what their values are, see if you're aligned, and then go face to face and then eat. So it's a lot more efficient. Show before and after pics of your properties. Take pictures of everything, like I said, do videos. Now explain the mistakes and learnings. A lot of my investors invest in me and continue to because they say, Tej, I saw that post, that's really good that you're sharing that. And actually, I like how you fixed that. And one investor said to me, Tej, you're everywhere. You know everyone. Not true. If something goes wrong, I know my money's safe with you, because you will phone someone and fix it instantly. I mean, to have someone with a lot of money say that to you is humbling, but it's also like, oh shit, my brand is showing people that I can handle the money and I can handle property and I'm an adult. So show people your mistakes and learnings. It's not weak like it would have been 10, 20, 30 years ago, like it allows people to connect with you because we're all human and we're all making mistakes and we aren't going to stop anytime soon. Share your deal figures and the reality. Now, it's important to share the reality because, again, show people that you are real and you are human and property is not easy. If you lied about how easy property was and, you made it seem like you never made a mistake, you wouldn't get investors because they'd be like, this dude is chatting shit. There's no way he hasn't made a mistake. Any savvy investor would be like, no, you're having a laugh. Anyone would say that. Society, well, some of society is smarter than it used to be. Sharing deal figures is important because it also shows investors, oh, you're pulling out quite a bit of money. Oh, you're actually making profit. Okay, I can get paid back on these kind of deals. Okay, you got a RICS valuation. That was spot on. Okay, that's good. You're getting a few of these now. Okay, I like this. And you never know who's watching. There's those people who just go, ooh, looking to invest 10 grand, meaning they have more than that. And they've been watching you and watching you and watching you, right? But also, if you're looking for like £1 million in investment, then you need to share your deals that you're doing or you're looking at, which are at that level. The deals I share, I'm unlikely to get someone with £1 million to invest, but I'm more likely to get someone with 100,000 or 250 or $500,000 to invest. And that's cool with me. So by showing your deals, you also kind of advertise, this is the level. There's nothing sort of big or small or anything like that. It's just, this is the level I'm playing at. This is the kind of people I want, Someone with 10 million is not going to loan me 25 grand. Like, why would they? Unless they're my mate. They want to loan out a lot more and make a lot more, right? Talk about every deal. Buying houses, getting rent to rents is bloody hard work. Make those assets sweat on your brand. Every element of them is something to talk about. Every refurb that goes wrong, or you discover something unexpected, talk about it, right? Now, these touch points, every post, every comment, every image is potentially a touch point with an investor. You never know when they're going to pop up like a ferret and say, I'm ready for you, right? You never know who is watching, but you must be consistent. Doing all these things I just described will build you a brand. But of course, there's a few little things you can do beforehand if you haven't already. So this is what I call the blueprint. I should call it the yellow print, really. But before you kind of start a brand, and I'm kind of going back a step here, but you need to think like, what are you? What are you doing? Are you social housing? Are you high-end in Mayfair? Are you HMOs? Like, what are you? What is your brand? And then who are you? Like, are you going to be the face of it? Are you going to be doing lots of videos, or are you going to be quite shy and is your business partner going to be the face of it? Like, are you, a business, or are you a personal brand, or are you both? Like, who are you? What is your presence on social media? And the real answer to that is it should be yourself, right? Colors. Now, look, I mean, uh, it's not a necessity to have a color. However, I think having a brand color and a logo adds a bit more memorability to you, right? Like, a lot of people send me pictures of yellow cars and yellow stuff and say, "Oh, Tej," because when they see yellow, they think of me. I've had people walk past me when I was wearing pink who double took and just carried on walking. And I was like, "You know me." I was like, "Hi, it's me," And so you can become really linked and associated with a color, which means that, you are sort of building your brand bigger, but only through an efficiency. It's not extra work to have a color or wear it, but you're building your brand through it. And identifiers, that links to colors. Wear a certain hat, wear a certain tie, have a certain style that makes you memorable, right? You always wear cravats. I'd love to pull off a cravat. I mean, I think they look sick, but have something that makes you memorable, because I promise you, it's a conversation starter, it's an engagement factor, and you want people to know you for something. Obviously, pick your platforms, which you spoke about. Generate and document. People know the difference between this. This is documenting content. Hey everyone, I'm live today. 36 hours of property knowledge and learning. I'm on site. Look at that! Look at that pipe burst. Oh, it's terrible. Look at the roof. Generate content is cool. 3 tips to raise money. Here we go. Here's my notes. I'm going to do it. Camera setup, perfect angle, mic on. Let's go. So, hi everyone. Today I'm going to share 3 tips to get the drift. There's 2 types, and you should do both. Your Instagram stories are perfect, and Facebook stories, bless Facebook. They're trying with their stories, but it's not the same as Instagram, even though I think they will own each other. Instagram stories are super powerful. The engagement you get from them is incredible. You should post every 4 hours, was the last time I checked the algorithm. Yeah, every 4 hours. Now, yeah, I realize this is really, really sounding like a lot of work. It is. It really is, especially at the start. I guarantee you, and I hope the warming up I've done so far shows you that it will pay dividends. Comment and like. Now, I don't do this because I've done it for long enough, and I love it, and it's so ingrained in me. But at the start, you could schedule brand time. So this means half an hour every day on branding. Right, 5 minutes to plan a video, 10 minutes to record it, 10 minutes to comment and like, 5 minutes to write a blog. Now, we also have a lot of dead time, right? So waiting for the bus, the train, I mean, not now maybe, but waiting for food in the microwave. Now, normally I ask people this question live. Now I can't really see anyone's reactions, but how often, how long in a day do we spend on the toilet? Bear with me. Don't hit the X and say, "Oh, I've lost it." This guy first, I thought I lost it 10 minutes ago, but now he's really lost it. Bear with me. Also, how long do you spend where your hands are free? Again, stay with me. Depending on your digestive system, 5, 10 minutes, 15, whatever. This is your toilet computer, some people call it. Don't worry, it's disinfected. But you have a lot of time during the day, taking into consideration that and other bits of dead time that you can literally go right, comment and like. And don't just comment for the sake of it. Oh my God, awesome. Hey, follow me for Bitcoin money, like these trolls on Insta. Say something meaningful, because, well, you will and should enjoy people's content that you're following because it's in property, it's in business, etc. Right? But there's a lot of dead time, and especially now, no excuse. Like, you have the whole day. Like, now is the time to be doing all these things. I found my podcast listens and views have dropped during this time for less people commuting, less people in the gym, etc., etc. But this is still a great time to create and put content out there. I'm ready for when things kind of get back to normal, whatever that means. And you can go even harder on your brand, and then have some physical stuff to talk about, being on site, being at events, etc. But booking Zoom meetings. Now, if you wanted to Zoom a big dog in the property industry and you didn't even have a profile picture, you had no brand, let's be really blunt here. What are the chances of them responding to you? I mean, they probably will. Property is very nice like that. But they're more likely to respond to someone with a brand because they can instantly see who you are and decide if that's a conversation they want to have and how they're going to have it. And, it's just warmer. It's like kind of going to a networking event and people know you, It's like going to a bar where everyone knows your name. And it just warms things up. It gets rid of that kind of ice-breaking, small talk British, oh, how's the weather? Yeah, blah, 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 and go straight into it. So just remember, if you want to learn better and network better, build a brand. And now is a good time to do even more. Get on those Zoom calls. Other video services are available. And speak to people, right? Like do dual Instagram lives with people. Get on Facebook lives with people if they're working now, the dual ones. Be in events like this. Be in the comments. Speak to the speakers. All the amazing speakers you've had over the past 2 days. Message them. Like, get to know them. Show them who you are. Ask them their thoughts on your logo or this or that or something, You can always reach out to me. Instagram's probably the best way, tej.talks, but use this time. Like, your brand time now should be a lot bigger. Analyze and edit. Who analyzes? You don't have to go into the deep analytics, but just kind of says, that post got a bit more than this. That got more than this. I should post more of this and less of that stuff. That is really important. Analyzing and editing is how you evolve, right? Like with property, you do a refurb and it's like, oh, that does not go with that. You're not going to do that refurb again, right? So same thing with property. DM. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you will receive a DM from me sitting there. I'm going to do some tonight, so watch out. And it will be like an introduction DM. But how many people send DMs out there? I bet very few of you, especially to every single person you connect with. So you got to think about that, right? If no one around me is doing that and I'm the only one, I am dominating because I'm literally saying hi to everyone and everyone's like, oh my God, what? I'm actually getting a DM from someone. Social media has become so antisocial. It's just become like follow, very superficial. No one ever seems to delve into the DMs. Like just slide in, right? Be appropriate, of course. Like I'm not teaching you how to date here. I'm teaching you how to build a brand. But DM everyone, especially when you're starting out. I promise you, it will help. DMing everyone is going to just build that little bit of engagement and that connection just a little bit better. I guarantee it. Commenting and liking is like the kind of superficial or surface method, but then DMing everyone is the kind of deeper method to do this. So here, I kind of put this on again, just more for you to look at. Then I'm not going to read through it. People always say, "Oh my God, how do you make content? What's content, Tej?" And here's some tips. If anyone comments on Facebook Live or YouTube and says, after this, I can't make any content, I don't know what to say, I ain't got words for you, because look, and half of this stuff you can just change. Here's a video on dealing with lockdown. Here's 3 things you can do in lockdown. Here's 4 ways to stay safe, but while still building your brand. Here's 3 ways that your builders should or could work if they wanted to. Struggling with materials? Here's some alternatives. Use cow dung instead of plaster. Is that an alternative? If it is, let me know, because ain't no plaster. There's a post in itself. The shortage of plaster. I paid $350 for a bunch of plaster. I got offered $2,500 for it. There's a post just on that. See, everything is content, right? I promise you. But use this slide. This is your cheat sheet for content, right? All right, FAQs. Now, some of you may be asking questions now in the chat. I hope you are, but I'll go through some of the common ones. When do I post? Right. Now, my answer to this is yes, there are certain times you should post. Don't get me wrong. And if you Google, like when to post on it, there's like heat maps and they're fantastic. They're loads of money on research, better than I could ever do and tell you. But my point, or the point I want to make is, if you put out shit content at the right time, it's still shit content. If you put out good content at the wrong time, it's still good content. So don't get hung up on, oh, you know what? It's now 9:01 and 26-second and 2 millisecond. Oh, I can't post today. And then tomorrow, oh no, I forgot to put. Don't do that, right? As long as you're posting good content, it honestly does not matter overly when you post it. Post something at 2 a.m. Of course, logically, it's not going to do as well unless you're, people in America or something. But just focus on good content. I'm shy on camera. Who's shy on camera? So many people put their hands up for this one. I love asking this because everyone's like, oh yeah, I'm really shy. And I'm like, no, I don't care. It is an excuse. And everyone's like, oh, I thought you were being really nice, Ted. I'm like, no, I'm not. It is just an excuse. I mean, a month ago, you couldn't buy property. 6 months ago, you didn't know what conveyancing meant. 26 years ago, you couldn't speak. You couldn't walk. Your limbs were like this big 40 years ago. You learned, you grew, you evolved. Same thing. Practice, practice, practice. Get this out. Get someone to film you if you want. Just do it yourself. Keep practicing over and over again and post one of the videos. Because if you don't post it, then it's all in your phone. And that's great because you're still practicing, but you're not getting over the fear factor of, because a lot of the shyness comes from insecurity of not looking good or being confident or tripping on your words, but also from what people are going to say. So get it out there. And I promise you, I've had 6 haters, which I'll get to in 2 years. So I'm quite out there. So honestly, people are going to be really, really, really supportive. I'm a bad writer. Who thinks they're a bad writer? Not too many people think they're bad writers. There's a really good book called Write to Sell, write as in WR, by Andy Maslin. I think it's £4 on Amazon. Incredible book. If you're a bad writer, again, it's an excuse. You can always become a better writer, or do audio, do videos, etc. I can't use technology. I hear bullshit. I'm not even going to spend time on this point because you can learn. There's a website called Udemy, Udemy, and you get courses for £10, and it literally shows you step by step in every little detail how to use Instagram, how to code, how to do anything. So again, no excuse. If you got kids and you really, really are being a technophobe and you're making excuses, get them to do the work for you, man. What else are kids good for? Huh? I'm too old for this. Again, I hear that a lot and I do not believe it 1 second. It may be a generational thing that we are very used to picking up our phones and dancing on camera and weird stuff that kids do, but it's an excuse. I promise you, believe in yourself. Whatever age you are, you can do it, right? Hey, look, if Donald Trump can be president and he's 70, I think we can all fucking do anything we like, right? Just don't inject yourself with disinfectant. It's time consuming. I love this one. Everyone's like, yep, it's really time consuming. It is. I'm not taking any prisoners today. It is time consuming. And I've got the secret for you. I've got a course, 1997. I'll make it not time consuming for you. No, I'm kidding. There's no silver bullet. You can use schedulers like Hootsuite, Later, etc. to make your life easier. You can outsource certain bits, but you can't outsource it because it's your personal brand. You are the personnel behind the person. So yeah, it's time consuming. Simple. Some people think they're boring, and you probably are. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. You're not. I promise you. As whatever you think your voice is, whatever you think your tone is, or your humor, or the way you come across, there'll be one person who likes it. And if there's one, there's 10. There's 10. There's 100. And there's a million. So I promise you, it probably comes from the insecurity or the fear of, tripping up on your words, not being confident, childhood, etc. But I'm not saying it's an excuse, it's like an insecurity, but I just trust me, you are not boring. People will find you interesting no matter what. I like privacy. Now, again, I can't play a game with this point, but okay, who knows my full name? Put in the comments if you know it. Who actually knows my age? put in the comments. Who actually knows where I live? A lot of people say Wales or Birmingham or London, or who actually knows? Do I have a dog or a cat or neither? Meow. Or what's that? Am I married? Am I single? Am I divorced? Do I have kids? I bet you the majority of you, even if you listen to my podcast and you follow my YouTube, I bet you that you don't know those things. So tell me how I am so out there and so active, but people don't know my real first name or my surname. I bet no one in the chat knows my actual surname. So you can keep your privacy. You can decide, and I haven't decided to keep those things private. They've just been kept private. But you can choose what you share with people, I promise you. Now, what about the haters? Haters. Again, I've had like 6 in the past 2 years. So you're really not going to get that many. My advice is read the feedback, take it as feedback, like, are they right? Is that a good, do I do that? Implement and change it if you feel it's true. Ask a friend, is it true? But ignore their lack of tact. Ignore how rude they are. Thanks for the feedback and just block them. Bad energy, stay far away, yeah? We don't need that. Now, speaking of haters, I put this post up. As you can see, I painted some stuff blue. Now, it didn't go down very well with the community. I mean, this group I posted it in is known for sort of, kind of people on it. But anyways, I had 31 sort of likes and I had a lot of laughing faces, but I had 165 comments. Guess how many of those comments were people hating? Out of 165 comments, 161 were people hating. And you can see in the comments or the little things I've put on screen exactly what they said. The first guy, he just wrote Taki, full stop. I never saw him again. Never comment Taki, and he left. That was it. Get in the bin. I don't know if that was me or the paint, but someone's getting in the bin. Horrible, hideous. Prison. I don't know if anyone's been to prison, but from what I can tell, I don't know if prison's as nice as this house. If it is, then wow. Cold and ugly. What were you thinking? These kind of comments can be really harmful to your self-esteem and your confidence. Be prepared for them if you're going to put yourself out there. But honestly, like, this is like the worst thing I've ever had on the internet. And it is pretty horrible, but I'm just used to it, Gotta have thick skin. But this can be really harmful for your mental health. So just be aware that people are going to give feedback, but because they're behind their computer screen, they suddenly forget their tact and they become, sort of gangsters of the internet with no humanity or human ability. So just, ignore them, allow them, but yeah, just be prepared for this might happen. This is just a chart of my podcast growth over the past 19 months. And I kind of want to sort of, I guess, almost conclude with, it takes time. Look at the beginning, right, where it says September the 3rd. That was me. That was my mum. That was me on incognito mode. Here's my sister. Here's my mate. It was me, trying to get the listens up. And now you can see the difference, right? And this is not fully up to date, but you can see the difference. But look at the months. Look at the years. It takes time. But I promise you, now you have the time to build a brand. So get on it, because you won't face a time like this again. We always say, oh, I ain't got enough time. I'm too busy. You sure as hell got enough time now, 2 more weeks of lockdown, I think. And when Bojo's back, could be more. And we know we're going to be on some form of lock or distance for a while. So you really have time. Don't leave it for 2 or 3 weeks. Do it now. It's Saturday night. You don't have to do it now. But do it now. I also offer this, which is actually how I've got probably about 30% of my investors are they're all passive, but they are passive, but they're interested in property. So, they see the growth from 0 to 15 properties. They see the mistakes, the challenges, the everything. And a lot of people said, I want to learn from you. And I was like, well, I don't really want to teach. I do occasionally, but I was like, I don't really want to do that. Why don't you invest in me, earn some money? So you're earning money and you're learning. And the learning is the key part. People do it for the learning. This is something that you could offer once you've built a brand and people are like, hey, I want to learn. I want to come on site. I want to see what you're doing. I want to ask you tons of questions and give nothing in return. This is how you can make that work, right? And really, actually, a lot of the people, everyone who's investing with me is making strides in their property business. And it's incredible to see this, but this would not be possible. 30% or so of that 600 grand would not be possible if I didn't have a brand and I didn't have people wanting to learn from me and go through my mistakes with me. So if you want to know about this, give me a shout, tejinvest.com. But it's another thing to add to your brand. I have a guide, 18 pages, 45 minutes of video content on how to start and market a podcast. Everyone wants to have a podcast. This guide may also show you why you don't want to have one because of some of the work involved. So I think it's doing its job if it's done either, really. So go to my website, tejtalks.com/ebooks, check it out. There's a few people on there who've started their own podcast with it. It is, you could pay thousands for a course, or you can go get the guide and everything's in there. I'm also writing a real book, but that's not yet. So yeah, Josh, that brings me to the end of my presentation. I put my contact details on here. So yeah, any questions?
Yeah, perfect. That was really fantastic talk. Got a couple of questions. Yeah, fire over. Do you use TikTok for property?
So I actually enjoy dancing. I used to professionally dance, so I have got a TikTok recently, and I've probably put 4 or 5 like pure property videos on. I am gonna use it for property stuff because, well, one, it's different. Everyone is dancing, so if you put on some different shit, potentially get some traction. But I am also gonna do some dances and put them on there just to, why not? It's what the platform's for, and do some other funky stuff. It can be used for property. It can be quite daunting, but there's a lot of non-song stuff. There's a lot of like voiceovers, and you can just put videos on it. You can literally just put this video on it. So I would say, because Gary Vee loves it as well, and he is very smart on these things, get an account and just put your videos on it for now. And if you're confident enough, just do some funky dancing and shit.
Yeah, solid advice. Just do some funky dancing and shit.
What can I say?
So the next one was, how do you decide which groups to post in? If you are property, should you focus on just property? How do you pick?
So if you're in property, I would suggest joining a few different groups. So joining like a normal business one, or like a BNI one, or something like that. Obviously being in every property group you can. And then maybe if you're a podcaster, being in a podcast group, etc. But within property, the answer is you'll learn over time. There'll be certain groups where you're like, yeah, I'm never posting in here because this is trash. Or there'll be certain groups where you're like, you know what? This group seems to be maybe newer people. So when I post in here, I'm going to write things less complex and show maybe easier things. But this group is like a lot of big experienced people. I'm going to post different stuff in there. And you kind of learn the vibes of each group. And then you eventually just, you're like, oh, that group is this, that group's this. And then, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. So in terms of when you've got a company, do you have a company page or a personal profile? How's the best way to decide which of those two to pick from?
So I have like a personal profile, so Tej Singh, which is me. And then I do have the Tej Talks podcast page. Things with pages, yeah, you can have more followers than like your friend's number, but the engagement from it is not the same. And as much as Facebook try, it just doesn't look and feel the same as Tej, the human, sort of speaking to you. And it never will unless they change it. So, I have it and it gets posted on sort of fairly often, but the real engagement, the contact and the investors come from my Tej Singh one. So, my business and personal brand are kind of all in one with Tej Talks and Tej Invest. So it's easy for me to just sort of have less things. If people have, this is a bigger question, a bigger answer, I guess. But if they have okay, let's say you have a personal brand and a business brand. Let's just say scenario. Your page should be your business brand, Tej Properties Limited, and your other page should be your Hi, I'm Tej Singh.
Yep, perfect. So we've got one more, I think. So in terms of starting a podcast, how do people go about starting a podcast?
So the first thing is, because I can't answer the whole question, is to check out the podcast guide on my website. But it, well, the simple thing is you need a mic, you need software, you need headphones if you're going to be interviewing other people, and if you want to be on YouTube, you need an SLR or some good video kit. Really, the mic, the software is all you need technically, and a few bits of online things to have a podcast. But there's a lot more thought, there's a lot more planning, there's a lot more, should I even do one? Competitor research. Do you want to monetize it? How are you going to advertise it? Because podcasts don't have their own social media platform. You have to pull people to it from your brand. So should you build a brand first or at the same time? Or so I think there's a lot of considerations. The sort of physical aspect, I mean, some people may struggle with editing. You can outsource it. The physical aspect is straightforward, but actually getting listens, getting it to grow, being consistent, and the kind of marketing aspect is where the real meat of the how to do a podcast answer question comes into it.
Perfect. And so for our final question of the day, so do you recommend blogging, and if so, where?
Was that blogging or vlogging?
Blogging.
Sure. So, you know what? We're in a society or generation where no one has an attention span. Instagram limits normal videos to 60 seconds. You look at the stats of your YouTube and your podcast, it just drops over time naturally. And I mean, it just will. So, because of that, are people going to read, long form posts? I mean, yeah, they are, especially if it's to do with figures or something complex or law. When it comes to, if you're a solicitor, you need to write stuff for many reasons. But in the day and age we're in, I would say yes, write blogs for your website, like on your website, or use Medium. Medium.com is such a beautiful platform, but very difficult to get traction on unless you have a brand to draw people to it. But have a blog on your website, which, to be blunt, will end up functioning for search engine optimization. I'm not saying write it full of keywords like a troll, but just know that Google will love you for your organic, updated, good content, but humans may not. But if your website is being found more because of it, I mean, it's you're still winning. So, but also you could write blogs in your Facebook posts or in your groups. Like, as long as they're not crazy long, you got to look at some people's Facebook posts. They are like blogs. So mix it up. However, I'd probably say invest more your time and money into videos because they're just the most popular medium at the moment. And I don't know, I think they're a lot easier to do as well once you get the hang of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes complete sense. So thank you very much, Tej, for taking the time out to do this presentation. Again, very fantastic feedback, some great questions there. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Night, everyone.
See ya. Perfect. So everyone, we're going to wrap things up now. We're going to call it a day. It really has been a fantastic day. Over 12 hours of content back to back. We've almost very almost completely smashed the target, and we've still got one more day to go. So at the moment, as at the end of the day, 9:15 today, we've got £9,965.35p donated. And when you actually have gift aid on top of this, we're 11,650. So we really have kind of met the target, but Virgin says we're still almost there. So we need someone to give £35. Let's smash the target. We're going to kick things off tomorrow morning. We start tomorrow about 9:45. We're going to start tomorrow. We've got another great day, loads of great speakers, and I look forward to seeing you all there. Let's just see if I can quickly put the agenda up for tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's that one there. So I'm just going to pop the agenda up right there. everyone take a look at that. We've got another fantastic day with some fantastic speakers, a lot of cash flowing strategies, making £10,000 a month. That's what Jamie York's going to be covering. So really do not miss out on tomorrow. It's supposed to be Sunday, the day of rest, but this is just going to be just as action packed as all the other days. Thank you very much. bit.ly/help the NHS. Let's raise some money and keep on smashing that target. Cheers, guys.